Welcome to the West Ham Voice. Thank you for joining me. I'm back from my holiday. Yeah, I got a bit of a tan. Thank you for joining. If you're new to the channel, please do hit the like button. Please subscribe to the channel and hit that bell alert so you can find out when I'm next on. I'm going to be doing a few more regular shows now that I'm back from holiday. Try and catch up, and there'll be a West Ham weekly update as well. Don't worry about that, and I'll try and bring you up to date with all the news stories over the past sort of week and a half or so. But let's focus on the latest news story today, which is about Nayef Aguerd. And apparently, Aguerd is rumoured to be an 11th hour snatch and grab by Newcastle. Is this true? Do West Ham United find themselves in yet again another tussle? Whether their one of their prime targets of the summer is going to sign for West Ham United, or whether another club are going to steal a march? Look, here's what I've been led to understand and to believe about what's happening, and let's see if it's true, shall we? It wasn't that long ago when everybody was reporting that Nayef Aguerd had already signed for West Ham United. He'd already had a medical. He'd already had photos taken of him holding up the West Ham shirt and so on and so forth. Clearly, that isn't true now. And even I admit, I did a show and I suggested that may have already happened. So, what do we understand and what do we now believe? Right. First of all, Aguerd arrived in the UK yesterday afternoon. Apparently, he landed at Heathrow around about 4 o'clock, just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon, in order to do the deal with West Ham United. That is, I believe, fact. What we also have been led to believe is that a deal with Rennes has been agreed. So the price for the player has been agreed. We've also been led to believe that the contract with the player himself has also been agreed. How much he's going to get paid, what his wages are going to be, the length of the contract, and so on and so forth. I don't have those details yet, but again, we've been led to believe that's all been agreed. And the third part of this is we've been led to believe that the agent has agreed a fee to manage the transfer on behalf of his client. Now, the agent is called Trivella Sports Management. And Trivella Sports Management seem to be, I've done a bit of research on them, and they seem to be quite a small management agency. Um, they have about 8 players on their books, and Aguerd would be by far their biggest transfer deal so far. I could be wrong, but this is the research I did on them earlier today. They seem to be quite a small outfit, and this will be by far their biggest deal. Now, look, if the deal is worth around about 20 million, then agents get a certain percentage of that, or they get a percentage on top of the 20 million that will pay Rennes, etc. So, they'll be doing well out of this. However, despite West Ham United having arranged for the player to come over, despite West Ham United having arranged to give the player a medical, despite West Ham United having agreed a deal with Rennes, his current club, having agreed a deal with the player, a contract with the player himself, and also a deal with the agent, a fee for the agent, that could all be scuppered by Newcastle coming in, from what we've understand to have happened. They come in, they will say to the agent, look, we will match everything that West Ham United have offered. We will match the asking fee. We will match the contract that West Ham have offered the player. But I'll tell you what, Trivella Sports Management, we'll give you a little bit more in your fee, agency fee, more than West Ham have given you if you get the player to sign for us instead. So we could have done all the groundwork. But if the agent is convinced by that, he can then turn around, or Trivella Sports Management can then turn around to the player and say, look, we think you're better off signing for Newcastle rather than signing for West Ham. Will this be in the interest of the player himself? Who knows? I think sometimes, and I'm not suggesting for 1 minute that Trivella Sports Management is an unscrupulous agency, but sometimes the agency will look after themselves before they look after the player. What I'm hoping for is that there's an element of integrity with this deal, and that Trivella will abide by the agreement that's been already made, the agreement that's on the table, and encourage Aguerd to still sign for West Ham United. But Until the player signs, there's nothing that West Ham United can do about it unless they start doing a bidding war. And that could be the next thing up. You know, the agency will look at this and go, hang on a minute, there are two clubs interested in our player, Newcastle on one side, West Ham United on the other. The fee is being agreed, whether it be 20 million, etc., whatever that is. So that's on the table. The player contract's been agreed, that's on the table. Now it's down to which club is going to pay me as an agent more money in order to in order to encourage me to get the player to sign for one club or the other. Um, it's a shame, really, that things like this can happen. But things like this happen quite often. I'm sure West Ham have done this with other players in the past where they've been ready to sign for another club and West Ham have stolen and marched on that club. And I'm sure it's happened to us on several occasions as well, where we've had a player lined up and another club have come in at the last minute and offered the agent or even the player himself a better deal. So I don't think that this has actually got to do anything to do with the fee that we've agreed with the club, with Rennes. I don't think this is anything to do with the contract that we've offered the player himself. It looks to me, because it's an 11th hour grab, that Newcastle are trying to offer the agent a sweetener in order for the agency to get Aguerd to sign for them instead of us. Look, West Ham is still confident that he will become a West Ham United player. I'm sure Moyes will be on the blower to Sullivan and Gold right now. If he is going to be one of our main signings of this summer, then I'm sure Moyes is going to want to get this over the line. And I'm sure West Ham United are going to do all they can in order to get the player to become a West Ham player. We they're fairly convinced that it will still happen, and they believe, West Ham believe, that the player could even be announced as early as Thursday or maybe Friday that he will become a West Ham United player. Fingers crossed on that, because I'd hate to think that we're going to lose out on Newcastle because they'll be able to offer more money to the agent, etc. Let's see what happens. I mean, we've already heard we've seen certain stories already in this transfer window. Certain players that we've been linked to, and it just hasn't happened. Players going to Aston Villa, players going to Liverpool, etc. That we've been interested in. Let's hope it doesn't happen with Aguerd, and let's hope that he becomes a West Ham player and it's announced before the end of the week. Let's move on to Alphonse Areola. And, this is a player that we should have signed by now, shouldn't we? I mean, it's a no brainer. What's the holdup? Why have we not made Areola our signing already? Well, one of the reasons could be is that his agent, Mino Raiola, died at the end of April. Now, look, Raiola, sorry, not Areola, confusing this one. Areola was managed by Raiola. The agent managed Pavel Nedved, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and more recently Paul Pogba. In fact, he was the agent who got the deal done for Pogba to go back to Man United in 2016. Mino Raiola passed away on the 30th of April at the age of 54. Now, it's understood that with that and with Areola's involvement in the French international team, this is why the deal has yet to be completed. Now, my understanding is that Raiola has family who have taken over the Areola agent deal. So this will happen. We've been told that the deal will happen around about 8, 9, £10 million. Areola's wages and contract have been agreed, and the understanding is that we've agreed something like an £85,000 a week contract. Now, a lot of you will say, "Well, hang on a minute, PSG." His contract is 125 grand a week. Well, as I said in my show last week, it looks as if that PSG will subsidise the difference in the wages, around about 40 grand a week. They've committed to that. They've said that they will commit to that. Areola is still contracted to PSG till 2023. Sorry, it should say 2023 on there and not 2022. So he's still got a year left, and the understanding is that PSG will, even though he'll sign permanently for West Ham United, that the agents that PSG will subsidise that. that salary. So I don't think there's anything to fear on this one. I don't think there are any shenanigans going on here. It looks as if Areola will become a West Ham, a permanent West Ham player, and the deal would be announced yet again, just like the Aguerd deal, should be announced before the end of the week. Let's move on to another player. If you remember last week, I did a show and I said that I believe the first three signings for West Ham United will be Aguerd, Areola, and of course Lingard. Unfortunately, I was wrong. It seems that Lingard, and no real secret here, it seems that Lingard will not be a West Ham player, despite the fact that David Moyes still is chasing the player. He still wants to try and convince Lingard, or Lingard's agent, his brother. He still wants to convince Lingard to become a West Ham player, but it seems that Lingard is looking elsewhere. It's the worst kept secret, I guess. But what I'm really worried about here is that David Moyes won't make the same mistake as he did in the January transfer window, where he will just keep trying and trying and trying for Lingard until it's too late, and then start targeting other players right at the death, right at the end of the transfer window. I hope Lingard signs with another club straight away, so that it'll be the end of it, and it will force Moyes' hand to go and look for alternatives. And there are alternatives, and our understanding is that the players that we're linked to with Watford are apparently real links. The first one being Emmanuel Dennis of Watford. We believe that this is a real target. Moyes will look at this sort of player because he believes that the versatility that this player offers will be good for West Ham United. And also that goes for Ismaila Sarr. Now, okay, Sarr didn't have a great season last season. 22 appearances, 5 goals, and only 2 assists. However, he did miss 12 games last season through various injuries, hamstring and ligament injuries. Look, all right, people are going to go, oh no, we don't want to sign yet another sick note. But the season before that, Sarr did really well. Sarr in the previous season did extremely well, where he scored 13 goals and made 10 assists for Watford. So we know there's a good player there, and the mixture between Sarr and Dennis, could be a good thing for West Ham. Um, I know a lot of people are saying, why are we signing players that have been relegated, etc. Look, Dennis did really well. 10 goals and 6 assists in a struggling team. And with Sarr's 5 goals and 2 assists, despite missing a dozen games, it's not a bad return for players who have been in a team that got relegated, in a team that was struggling. And it also gives West Ham United an option. It gives David Moyes the option that we know he probably prefers. Having Ben Rama, who I don't think will be sold. I know there's a lot of stories out there, and apparently we will listen to offers. But with Vlasic looking more likely to go, if Ben Rama stays, and then you've got Antonio, and then you've got Bowen, and then you add Sarr, and then you add Dennis on top of that. Those 5 players vying for the 3 attacking options in the team wouldn't be a bad thing, would be a good thing. And what it offers Moyes is the opportunity to utilise those players and be versatile. Putting Bowen up front when Antonio needs to be taken out of a game or needs to be rested, and then you can use Sarr on the right hand side, or Dennis on the right hand side, or Dennis on the left hand side, etc. They can mix those 2 players that I've mentioned, both Sarr and Dennis, are versatile players. They can play along the front line, and even though Dennis is uh, down as a striker and Sarr is an attacking right-sided midfielder, they can be utilised right across the front line. So can Bowen, and so can Antonio. A lot of people are saying Antonio should be utilised out on the wing rather than the striker, and it gives Moyes that option. So let's hope he doesn't wait until the dying death of the transfer window for Lingard to sign, and that he goes for alternative options. That's my brief update. Thank you for joining me. The West Ham Weekly will be back. I just need to put all that together. Whether I can do it before the end of the week or not, I don't know. But I will be back with more shows now that I'm back. More regular shows every day, etc. So, like I said, if you like what you've seen and heard, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button and hit the bell notification to let you know when I'm next on. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you soon.